I think the first thing I ever experienced that was from the mind of Stephen King was the 1983 film Christine. But it was not because of King, it was because of it being directed by John Carpenter. Since then I've enjoyed many of King's works, both written and in film. If you ask my wife her favorite horror film, she will tell you The Shining. Go one step further and ask her her favorite film itself, and she will say The Shawshank Redemption. Both films are based on Stephen King work. Overall, I think it is fair to say his prolific nature would lead to similar results in many households around the world. If not that, at least being able to say that he's touched most people alive, not just ours. So when I received the request from one of my regular viewers to do a certain game, I jumped at the chance. This, of course, is a 1985 PC, Apple II, and Apple Macintosh game by Mindscape, Stephen King's The Mist. The game itself is based on King's 1980 novella, The Mist, which, by based, I mean loosely. Long before actually starting the game, I had seen the original 2007 Frank Darabont film, Frank being the same man who directed The Shawshank Redemption, and I had seen the entirety of the prematurely ended television series from 2017. And just a couple weeks ago, I finally read the novel itself. The one thing I can tell you for certain is that they all share very little in common. I mean, they all take place in Bridgetown, Maine. They share many of the same characters, albeit renamed in the television series, similar locations, and they have a mist. But beyond that, much of the actual storylines vary, especially the endings. However, in all of them, the main plot device, the attempting to protect the main character's son, Billy, from whatever threat encountered remains the primary focus. For whatever reason, the game author has decided to start the player after things have gone south, and is already into the story. It provides no real background on the characters, or the events which has led up to what one has to play through. I assume the author of the game believed that anyone purchasing it had already read the novella and would be familiar with these oversights. Now, our job in this game is to find Billy and escape the horrors the mist has brought upon Bridgetown. To do this, we have to suspend disbelief and face a seriously punishing RNG god who is programmed to do everything in its power to cheat us of our victory. Now, originally I wanted to play this with you on the Apple Macintosh, the original classic Mac, but there's a bug in the code of my copy. And although I completed it initially on the Macintosh, it could take many weeks to work around this bug. Instead, we'll be playing on an Apple IIe, which thankfully works perfectly. But first let me show you how it opens up on the Macintosh. Here we have the display screen. The disk called Game is the one that's currently in the floppy. Double click that, it calls up a folder, which we double click The Mist, and here we have Stephen King's The Mist. Program contents copyright 1985 Angelsoft Inc., based on The Mist, copyright 1980 by Stephen King, all rights reserved. Do you want to resume a saved game? No. And if you look at this, you get a chance to see how clean cut this looks and how I really wanted to work with this for the sole reason that it's beautiful. It's very easy to read, has no real pixelation. It's just a well clean cut game. But unfortunately, that bug that I mentioned earlier, that gets in the way of being able to do save files, which this game, it requires them. Now, you're not going to see the save files that I'll be using, but trust me, they will be there. So instead of trying to fight with this from here on out, let's just move right on over to running this game on the Apple IIe. Would you like to resume a saved game? Type yes or no. No. And now we wait for it to load. One of the first things you will notice is the loading screen, or the splash screen, is not as ambitious on the Apple II as it was on the Apple Macintosh, even though the Apple II has a greater capacity for showing color. Mindscape presents Angelsoft Interactive Fiction Stephen King The Mist. Program contents copyright 1985 Angelsoft Inc., based on The Mist, copyright 1980 by Stephen King. Come on, let's get this line moving. You think to yourself as you shift from foot to foot. Thanks to all the summer people, it takes forever to get through the checkout line in this supermarket. It's worse today than ever, with no air conditioning. All the power was knocked out by the last night's storm. At least your son Billy's nice and cool over the lake with Mr. Eagleton. As you glance up once more, a teenager, his tattered clothes flapping wildly, bursts into the store screaming, "The fog! It's got Mark! Oh my God, it—" Before anyone can ask him what he means, he wheels around and runs back out. Then, through the huge plate glass windows, you see it. A strange white mist, its edge as straight as a ruler, rolling in at an incredible rate from West Kansas Road right toward Federal Foods, swallowing up the blue sky and the familiar landmarks of Brighton and everything else in its path. As the parking lot disappears, you could swear you see a man being jerked into it, his hands flailing upward as if in surprise. To the east, several people are grabbing all the baked goods, and in the beverage section to the south, someone just knocked a soda bottle out of Miss Repler's hand. The store manager's office door to the west is closed. A few people walk through it, the in and out door to the north, and disappear, one by one, into the milky white fog. To start with, we need to go east. You know what? It's rare I get a chance like this to show you one of the first move death actions. It's a rare thing when a game includes this, and when it does, I think it's both frustrating and great. So let's start by going north. You push through the in and out door into the mist. The parking lot of the supermarket is crowded with smashed automobiles. Your heart sinks when you see your Scout. Something has crushed it, and it looks like a tin can that has been stepped on. Even though you can't see them through the thick, damp mist, you know that Bug Blasters is to the west, and the public park is to the east. To the south is Federal Foods, and to the north is West Kansas Road. For one instant, a high, thin scream pierces the deathly quiet. As you stand there, you are jolted by an odd, twisting thud that you feel mostly in your feet. As you regain your footing, the shadowy outlines of 6 elephantine legs emerge from the mist. Before you can move, you are crushed by a hoary foot. The nightmare is over, for now. Would you like to play again? Now that is just amazing that it is possible that the first move from anywhere in the game can result in your death. So remember, do not go north, let's go east. The aisles in this section of the market contain, or rather did contain, bread and baking items. Everything must have been picked over earlier. The meat section is to the south, and the checkout area is over to the west. You see the salt box. Miss Carmody is here. Miss Carmody is the weird old witch who runs the Bridgetown Antiquary. She's wearing a bright canary yellow pantsuit, and with her frizzy red hair, she looks like a fat candle. Yet she possesses an extraordinary Pied Piper ability. A few wide-eyed, frightened people are following her around the store, listening to her gothic pronouncements that the world is ending. As you stand there, you are jolted by an odd, twisting thud that you feel mostly in your feet. The musical jingle of bottles destroying themselves on the tile floor fills the air. Crazy Miss Carmody yells out, "It's death to go out there!" Notice that jolted thud, that's the same thud of the huge elephantine feet that crushed us when we went outside. Now, here the important thing is that we need the box of salt. And this game does not understand get, which I prefer because it takes 3 letters instead of 4 letters. So we're going to take the box. It's not take salt, it's take box. You are holding the salt box in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. Suddenly people begin to panic. They trip over each other as they bolt through the door and disappear into the eerie whiteness. You hear screams in the mist. Then the supermarket falls quiet. We want to go west back to where we started. You are back at the checkout area. Now if you remember the checkout area, you're in the checkout area. To the north is view through the in and out door, and the show window is blocked by an eerie whiteness. The office door to the west is closed. That's the direction we want to go now. So to do that, we want to open the door. Do you want to open the office door? Yes. From here, what we need to do is we need to go into the office And to do that, we go west. The manager's office is just a plywood and plastic booth which overlooks the store. Its door is on the east wall. Ollie Weeks is here. Ollie Weeks, a bachelor in his mid-40s, is the manager of the Federal Food Supermarket. On the pudgy little finger of his left hand, he wears a star sapphire ring, which he bought with his winnings from last February's state lottery. He's usually fairly easygoing, but today he looks extremely nervous. Ollie Weeks is one of the characters who wanders around, so we could meet him here, we could meet him somewhere else. Luckily we meet him here, because we need to talk to him, we need to get some things from him, but before we can do that, we need to calm him down. So we tell him, Ollie, relax. You're right, I should. Now let's ask Ollie if he has a gun. You bet. So Ollie just carries a gun around, but he's nervous and he's afraid of this gun. So, Ollie, give me the gun. This is one of the places where the novella helped because I knew that Ollie had a gun because of the novella, but in the novella he's not so nervous and he's not so afraid of it. He's actually pretty good with the gun. And that disturbs me that they didn't keep it that way, but I can understand that he wants to give it to you. Take it, take it. If I hang on to it, it's sure to go off, because you're the protagonist of the story. Now we are going to go east, back where we started. And then from here, with Ollie is following us, we're going to go north, which is where we started originally and got stepped on, but this will not kill us this time. This takes us to the parking lot. You push through the in-out door into the mist. The parking lot of the supermarket is crowded with smashed automobiles. Your heart sinks when you see your Scout. Something has crushed it, and it looks like a tin can that has been stepped on. Even though you can't see them through the thick, damp mist, you know that the Bug Blasters is to the west, and the public park is to the east. To the south is Federal Foods, and to the north is West Kansas Road. For one instant, a high, thin scream pierces the deadly quiet. Now from here we're going to go to the east. The public park is smothered by low, white, cold clouds in this implacable fog. To the west is the supermarket parking. A fence blocks the way north. To the east is North Main Street, and to the south are the swings and monkey bars. Legless white phosphorescent creatures hump sluggishly over the swing set, leaving a trail of thick, green glowing mucus behind them. The bug is here. This hideous creature is 2 feet long. Its horrible slug-like body is the pinkish color of healed-over, burned flesh. Its bulbous eyes peer in opposite directions from the ends of its short, limber stalks. It hops sluggishly, balancing itself on fat, sucker-like pads. This is the hint of how to deal with the bug. It's slug-like. And to do that, we need to open the box. Remember the box of salt? You open the salt box, and then throw salt at the bug. I do not recommend doing this normally because slugs are really cute. You throw the salt at the bug. The creature shudders and emits a blood-curdling screech as the grains sink into its flesh and shrivel its skin, until only a dried-out, wrinkled husk remains. Let's drop the box. You put down the salt box. You're holding the pistol in your hands and you have only your clothes on your back. And we're going to go east again. North Main Street runs north and south for about 10 blocks. The once smooth asphalt has been pounded into rubble. To the south is a traffic circle, and to the west is a pedestrian's entrance into the public park. A hardware store is to the east. Other stores along the street have been looted and abandoned. The bird is here. This hunchbacked bird-like creature flies about on leathery white membranous wings. Its red eyes glitter in its triangular head, and its heavy, hooked beak opens and closes rapaciously. Now this bird is bad news, and we needed the gun in order to deal with this bird. So let's shoot the bird. Bang! Your bullet hits the albino bird thing in the chest. The monster emits an ear-piercing squawk and dives to the ground. It lands clumsily, then stumbles toward you. With its dying breath, the beast coughs and spits. Then, with a quaver, the ugly monstrosity falls over, dead. Now we're going to go west. You're back at the public park. You see the salt box, the salt, and the body of the bug. Let's go west again. You're back at the parking lot, where we go south into the store again. You push through the in-out door and enter the safety of the supermarket. You're back at the checkout area. Ollie Weeks is here, where we go south again. The beverages section is littered with broken bottles and crushed soda cans. The checkout area is to the north, and the produce section to the west. The meat section is to the east, and household goods are to the south. Mrs. Carmody is here. We want to go east. We're avoiding Mrs. Carmody for right now. What we're needing to do is find Mrs. Repler. Mr. McVeigh, the butcher, usually has only the freshest meats on display. Today there is no sign of old Mr. McVeigh, and the display counter is bare. You see the locker door behind the counter to the east. Aisles lead west to the beverages and north to the bakery. The air feels unusually cold in this part of the market. Mrs. Repler is here. Hilda Repler is an elderly 5th grade teacher who treats everyone as though they were still in elementary school. Her rope-thin body has a tough, dried-out look that reminds you of beef jerky. Her husband runs the local hardware store, and the Replers have always prided themselves on being pillars of the community. At this point, what we need something from Mrs. Repler that we would normally find out about as we're wandering around. But since I already know, we're just going to jump right into it and ask Mrs. Repler, where is the key? This is the key to the hardware store. Mrs. Repler, I think I dropped my key on my walk over here. If we do not ask her this, it will not show in the area where we have to find it. Very, very nasty bit of programming. So now let's head out of here, and we're going to head to that previously mentioned traffic circle. To do that, we go west, back through the beverages, then we're going to go north. We're back at the checkout area. We're going to go north again, which will take us outside to the parking lot. Then we're going to go east. Back at the public park with the salt and the body of the bug. Go east again, which is back at the north of Main Street where we see the key and the body of the bird. We were unable to see the key before. So let's pick up the key. You're holding the pistol and the key in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. Let's go south to the traffic circle. You're in the traffic circle with exits in 4 directions. In the middle of the traffic circle is a statue of some famous Revolutionary War hero whose name you've never bothered to learn. Perched upon the statue's head is the ugliest caterpillar you've ever seen. It watches you move around the circle, smacking its lips. Now what I am looking for is not here, so I'm going to go north. You're back at North Main Street. You see the body of the bird. A forest of tentacles slithers from the mist. Some are small, but some are gigantic, with candy pink suckers the size of manhole covers. They wave aimlessly back and forth before returning to the mist. We're going to go south again, back into the traffic circle. The dragonfly is here. The grotesque green insect with its iridescent body and long transparent wings looks like a grossly misshapen dragonfly. It hovers before you, its whip-like tongue darting hungrily in and out of its stubby mouth. Let's shoot the dragonfly. Bang! The bullet pierces the monster's shell near its right antennae. Gallons of green blood pour thickly from the wound, and the creature crashes to the ground. It crawls toward you for a moment, then rolls over onto its back, dead. That is what we wanted to do. We don't want to run into it again later, so we wanted to exterminate it now. We're going to head out north, which takes us back to North Main Street, where we have the bird body, where we picked up the key, and let's look at the area again. As you can see, there's a hardware store to the east. So let's unlock the door. The store door unlocks, so we are going to open the door. This is the hardware store, by the way. This is a frightening situation, but you have to calm down. If you notice, I accidentally double punched the in key. That happens a lot on my keyboard. Usually I just edit it out. This time I'm going to leave it in. Open the door. The door to the store is now open, and we will go east, taking us inside the store. You step through the doorway. A few eels of mist follow you inside. A struggle has occurred here in the hardware store. Even though the door to the west was closed and locked. The store was littered with broken tools and electrical supplies. Mr. Repler's torn and bleeding body lies in one of the aisles. Lying beside him are the broom, the old clip, and the shovel. We want to drop the keys because we do not need it anymore. And then we want to take the old clip You're holding the pistol and the old clip in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. Now let's take out the clip that's already in the gun. It's called the polished clip. You take out the polished clip from the pistol. Suddenly, a fleeting image from last night's dream comes to your mind. Everything in Brighton seemed to be covered with a thick white fog, and you couldn't see anything in it. You kept calling Billy's name, but he didn't answer. Let's drop the polished clip. Please do not take the time to complain about them using the word clip instead of magazine, please. And then you put down the polished clip, you're holding the pistol and the old clip in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. Let's put the old clip in the gun. Done. The old clip is in the pistol. Now let's take the shovel. You're holding the pistol and the shovel in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. From here we need to head west a bunch of times to get to Bug Blaster's store. You step through the doorway, you're back at North Main Street, you see the body of the bird. Go west again. You're back at the public park. This is where we killed the bug. Go west again. You're back at the parking lot, and west one more time, which takes us to a new area. The Bug Blaster's store door has been shattered. Through it you can see the parking lot to the east. A hand-lettered sign on one wall proclaims, "We zap all varmints right out of your life. Free estimates, sale this week on Gypsy Moth Spray." This small store is crazy shambles. Strange web-like strands festoon the store like streamers drifting down all around. Spilled insecticides cover the floor. Bottles and boxes litter the aisles. There is blood everywhere. You see the raid and the sprayer. The spider is here. The size of a big dog, the spider's body is black with yellow piping. Its eyes are reddish-purple like pomegranates. It scutters quickly on its many-jointed, bristly black legs. Please note that raid is used as a proper word. This game was made back in the days when you could get away with using actual company names and not have to pay royalties. Now we need to kill the spider, and to do that we need the raid. So we take the raid, you're holding the pistol, the raid, and the shovel in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. I have 3 hands. Spray the spider with raid. Raid is lethal to spiders in this game. The spray coats the monster's eyes. It recoils just like the animated bugs in television commercials, then runs around in ever smaller circles until it finally rolls over onto its back, its many legs jerking in spasms. It does not take long to die. Let's drop the raid because we do not need it anymore. You put down the raid. You're holding the pistol and the shovel in your hands and have only the clothes on your back. Now let's take the sprayer. You're holding the pistol, the sprayer, and the shovel in your hands and have only the clothes on your back. Now we are going to head to the garbage dump. And to do that, we go east. We're back in the parking lot. East again. Back at the public park, you see the salt box, the salt, and the body of the bug. East again. Back at North Main Street, where the body of the bird. Now we're going to go south, which takes us to the circle, the traffic circle with the body of the dragonfly. And then we go west. Westport Road runs west to an intersection and east to a traffic circle. Entrance to the traffic circle is blocked by a fallen telephone pole. To the north is the supermarket driveway. The General Cinema has a huge hole in its roof, out of which swarm of huge bees with green and yellow abdomens. The Cinema Marquee spells out the Dead Zone. It's another Stephen King story, and at the time this was made in 1985, The Dead Zone was a movie that was showing in theater. Now we need to go north. You're on a one-lane driveway which runs south deeper into the mist. The loading dock is to the west. The truck is here. Now let's go west again. We're having to zigzag through town. The mist is thick all around here. The loading dock is to the west. You can barely see the garbage dump to the south and the driveway to the east. Bright red streaks of fresh blood stain the loading dock. Dark shadows glide silently through the white fog. Let's go south. And this should put us in the supermarket's garbage dump. Food and trash are scattered all over. To the north is the loading dock. You see the dumpster. Now let's open the dumpster. It's open. We can examine the dumpster. This is a battered green Dempsey dumpster. A forest of tentacles slithers from the mist. Some are small, but some are gigantic and candy pink suckers the size of manhole covers. They wave aimlessly back and forth before returning to the mist. Whenever that paragraph pops up again, I'm just going to ignore it. The important thing here is to know that there's something in the manual to the game that tells you that not only is examine something a command, but examine something carefully is a command. So if we examine the dumpster carefully, we will notice something different. This is a battered green Dempsey dumpster. You see the notebook lying on the top of the rotting vegetation in disintegrating boxes. The notebook. This is an important thing. So let's take the notebook. Again, the double key happened. Take the notebook. And then we need to open it. If we try to read it without opening it, it will not read. So open the notebook. You open the notebook. Read the notebook. And we need to read it multiple times. This is the first time reading it. January 5. Radiation reached a dangerous high today. Many of the grasshoppers died. The flies somehow survived. The chairman will not listen to my warnings about the volatile nature of these experiments. The safety measures of the project are simply ridiculous. Must it be my responsibility to see that something is done? Read notebook again. This is the second time we are reading the notebook. March 3rd. The pesticide is coming along nicely. I will tell the chairman soon. I'm sure his reaction will be that I acted needlessly. To hell with him. I simply felt we needed an ace in the hole. Read the notebook one last time. July 20. The chairman has gone absolutely bonkers. When he found out about the pesticide I developed behind his back, he ordered that I throw it away. I've saved it for now. I'm beginning to wonder if what we're doing is right. Nature shouldn't be tampered with like this. The clouds look ugly this evening. A storm is coming. I hope it doesn't interfere with my plans for tomorrow. What the purpose of them having the notebook in the dumpster as something to just find, I do not know, but I'm going to accept it. The notebook will do nothing for us now except get in the way and fill our inventory, so we're going to drop it to where we're carrying only the pistol, the sprayer, and the shovel, and have the clothes on our backs. Now let's go for another walk. And to do that, we're going to go north, back to the loading dock, west, which ducks through the horizontal gap of the opening door. This is the storage area of the supermarket. To the north is a swinging door, and to the east is a metal loading door. The room has an odd putrid smell about it. A strange rasping sound on the other side of the loading door distracts you a moment. Norm, the bag boy, is standing near the half-open door. Tendrils of mist, as white and fine as floating lace, are eddying through it. So is a huge rubbery tentacle. It gropes toward Norm. Before you can warn him, it grabs him around the calf and attaches itself with thick, fleshy suckers. Norm screams, "Get it off of me! Help! Oh God, get it off of me!" Before you can do anything, the tentacle bulges as if flexing its muscles and begins pulling Norm into the fog. A second tentacle appears and wraps itself around Norm's upper body. The slimy things pull him into the dense, eerie whiteness until his screams are suddenly cut off. So, goodbye to Norm, and we're going to go north through the swinging door, which puts us in the fruits and vegetables section, the produce section, where they were scarfed up earlier by the hungry crowd. This is a swinging door to the south, and the beverages section is to the east. Mrs. Repler is here. She's the one we got the key from. And Mrs. Carmody just appeared. Goodbye, Mrs. Carmody. We do not want to talk to you. We're going to go east. Back at the beverages, Mrs. Carmody is following us. Go north again. Back at the checkout area, and go west. Back at the manager's office, Ollie Weeks is here. You suddenly recall more of last night's dream. You and Billy were running from something terrible, something that lived in the mist. We need to get one thing from Ollie now. As we know, we need to talk to him. So Ollie, do you have the truck key? You bet. Ollie, give me the truck key. Here it is. Good luck out there. Now we're going to go find ourselves the truck in the driveway. And to do that, we go east. You're back at the checkout area. We're going to go south. Back at the beverages, go west. Back at produce, Mrs. Repler just appeared. You hear Miss Carmody shouting, "Prepare to meet your God, a sacrifice, it may be our only hope." Mrs. Carmody's band of faithful followers growls in agreement. Let's go south. That's through the swinging door back to storage. Go east. Duck through the horizontal gap of the open door. We're back to the loading dock and east again, which should put us at the driveway. Back at the driveway. The truck is here. Open the door. Truck door is now open. Get in the truck. Step into the driver's seat. The truck's cab is roomy and torn. Patched seats are upholstered in black vinyl. Let's close the door. The truck's door closes, and now we get to go on a little bit of a drive. So we drive south to Westport Road. Westport Road runs west to an intersection and east to a traffic circle. Entrance into the traffic circle is blocked by a fallen telephone pole. To the north is the supermarket driveway. The General Cinema has a huge hole in its roof, out of which swarm huge bees with green and yellow abdomens. The cinema marquee spells out, "The Dead Zone." Let's go west, where we drive to the intersection. Here at the intersection, to the south is a highway which leads out of town, toward the rest of New England. Harrison Road is to the north. A Mobile station lies to the west, and to the east is Westport Road. The mist is unusually thick here. We could go to the Mobile station, but there's nothing there that's really of interest other than a character with some flavor text. I don't want to go there, waste time when we should be moving forward in the game, and so to do that we're going to go north. You drive to Harrison Road. You're on Harrison Road. It curves south to an intersection and east onto West Kansas Road. All around you is the strange white wonderland filled with death and distorted monsters. We're going to go east. You drive onto West Kansas Road. West Kansas Road runs east toward the crossroads and curves west onto Harrison Road. The supermarket's parking lot to the south has been demolished. Cars and trucks now lie scattered about the lot, like the broken toys of some monstrous child. I'm going to go east again. Drive to the crossroads. You're at the crossroads. East and West Kansas Road meet here. To the north is Short Lane. To the south is North Main Street. Let's go north. Drive to Short Lane. Short Lane is a small curved road which runs east to York Road from the crossroads to the south. Let's go east again. You drive to York Road. To the west of York Road, Short Lane curves to the mist. Traveling south on York Road will bring you to the underpass. To the north, the road disappears into the darkness. We're going to go south. You drive to the underpass. The underpass arches over this dark, gloomy road that runs to the north to the countryside and to the south to the traffic signal. Through the fog, you can barely make out a sign that says York Road. South again. You drive to the signal. This intersection joins York Road to the north and Shaymore Road to the east, where it stretches beyond the city limits into dark, rolling hills. A signal light is bent over and absurdly in an almost horizontal position. Perched on the signal post like birds on a telephone pole are about 30 disgusting little bugs. Suddenly, a strange flying creature swoops down and grabs one of the bugs, then blends into the mist as it flies off. We're going to go east. You drive onto Shaymore Road. You are on Shaymore Road, a 2-lane country blacktop which begins at the edge of a hilly area near Bridgeton. It stretches east from a signaled intersection, winding through the hills which become increasingly steeper. 10 miles further, a dirt road branches off to the south, while Shaymore Road continues east, going deep into the thick white mist. And south one more time. You drive to the dirt road. You are on a narrow dirt road. The ground here is muddy from last night's storm. Shaymore Road is to the north. You can see a fence. You see the sign you can't read from here. Your vision is blocked by hundreds of small, puckering mouths attached to the windshield of your truck. They pull away with a loud and rolling thrap, leaving no trace. So we are where we need to be, so we need to open the truck door. The truck door is now open. Suddenly, a fleeting image from last night's dream comes to your mind. Everything in Bridgeton seemed to be covered in a thick white fog, and you couldn't see anything in it. You kept calling Billy's name, but he didn't answer. Let's get out of the truck. You step out and stand next to the truck at the dirt road. We want to dig a hole with the shovel. You dig a muddy hole extending south under the fence. Then we need to drop the shovel because we don't need it anymore. You put down the shovel. You're holding the pistol, the sprayer, and the truck key in your hands and have only your clothes on your back. Let's go south. You squirm through the muddy hole underneath the fence. You are south of the huge metal fence. An empty security post is here, but there is no sign of the guards. The hole you dug leads north under the fence. To the east is a carport. Beyond it, through the mist, you can see the faint outline of what appears to be a building. Let's go east. You are in a carport littered with crumpled automobiles. To the east is a front door to a large gray building. To the west is the security post. The centipede is here. This creature resembles a tropical centipede, but the damned thing is as long as 3 school buses, and it rears its head the height of an elephant. Its ugly pincers open and shut, searching for fresh, tender flesh. Now, if you remember that part early on where I said that I was definitely going to be using saves, this is the location where I use save. You're supposed to shoot the centipede, you have to hit it 3 times, but every time you fire your weapon, a random number generator decides whether or not you're going to hit it. You need to hit it 3 times in a row, otherwise you die. So let's give this a try. We're going to start by shooting the centipede. Bang! The lead strikes the beast just below its head. A horrid green-black goo gushes forth, and the centipede makes a terrifying high-pitched sound. Now it's really mad, and certainly isn't dead. Shoot the centipede a second time. Bang! You hope a second bullet will do the trick. You hit the creature's eye, causing it to emit another high-pitched scream. The shrieking becomes unearthly, but the damn thing just keeps moving towards you. Shoot the centipede a third time. Bang! You fire at the front of the creature's head. It explodes in fireworks of green-black blood and gray skin. The beast's long body wavers in the air for a moment, then falls heavily to the ground. We got it! Let's open the door. Let's get inside before something else comes. I don't know if anything else is going to come, but the front door is now open, so let's go in. It's kind of grisly down here. You step through the door into the lobby of a temporary office building. Portraits of military heroes decorate the steel-gray walls of this lobby. They stare with cold, unseeing eyes at the devastation that surrounds you. On one wall hangs a sign which reads, Arrowhead. Below the sign is the United States seal. An archway lies to the east, and swinging doors to the north have been ripped off their hinges. The carport is to the west. Before you take another step, you feel a sudden rush of something indescribably evil probing your mind. Then, just as suddenly, it subsides. Let's go east again. The destruction here is even more grisly. Blood is splattered everywhere as if it had been used instead of paint in a grotesque redecoration scheme. But there are no bodies in sight. An archway to the west leads to the lobby. A plaque pointing east reads, Captain John Jones. Let's go east again. This should take us to the office. You've reached Captain Jones' office. More offices are to the west. A metal file cabinet stands open, and files have been torn to pieces and flung around in the room. You see the closet and the memo. Let's take the memo. You're holding the pistol, the sprayer, the truck key, and the memo in your hands. You have only the clothes on your back. Let's read the memo. The memo, dated July 19, is addressed to the President. It reads, From the desk of Captain John Jones. Project Plague is in serious trouble. The chairman will not listen to my warnings. I suggest we abandon this project immediately before something goes wrong. With all due respect, I believe we can come up with another means of defense besides muta. The rest of the memo is unfinished. Let's drop the memo because we need our hands open. You put the memo down, holding the pistol, sprayer, and truck key in our hands. Let's open the closet. You open the closet. It contains the rubber suit. So take the rubber suit. You take the rubber suit from the closet, and then we need to wear the rubber suit. Done. Now let's go west Remember the swinging doors earlier? That's our target. So we're going back through the office area, west again, which takes us back to the lobby, and from here we go north into the lab. Here in the laboratory, tables are strewn with broken beakers and shattered test tubes, and the air reeks of sulfur and burned rubber. Hundreds of dead insects cover the floor. Some look normal while others are strangely mutated and overgrown. An airlock door to the east bears a sign reading, "Chemicals, Danger." The swinging doors on the south wall lie broken in the lobby outside the lab. Let's open the door. The airlock door is now open and go east. We need the rubber suit to go in here, otherwise the air will kill us. You step through the door into an airlock. Another door to the east opens automatically as the airlock door closes behind you. You step through the second door and leave the airlock. You find yourself in a steel-walled, spotless room with fluorescent lighting. Before you are rows of undamaged beakers and chemicals. Most are labeled in chemical nomenclature, which you cannot understand. To the west is the airlock and the airlock door. You see the tank. Let's make use of the sprayer that we have been carrying around forever. So let's pour the insecticide from the sprayer. We just need to empty it. And then we need to pour the pesticide into the sprayer. In hindsight, I probably should have shown you where the pesticide was, but it's a little late for that. If you play through this on your own, you can find it. Now let's go ahead and open the door again. And we're going to head out of here. To do that, we need to go west. Back in the lab, go south. Back in the lobby, west. So we're back in the carport where the body of the dead centipede is. West again. Back at the security post and north under the fence. You're back at the dirt road. You see the fence and the shovel. The truck is here, so we want to get in the truck. Now you see why I left the truck door open? So it would be easy to get in without having to open the door a second time. But we do need to close the truck door. And then from here we need to go on a little drive, which will take us north onto Shaymore Road. We've already been here, so I'm not going to read it. We will go west, which drives us to the signal. We've also been here. And then we need to go north This is the underpass, and we're going to go north again to York Road, and then we are going to go west to Short Lane, south to the Crossroads, east to East Kansas Road, East Kansas Road runs east toward Long Lake and west toward West Kansas Road. A Howard Johnson's motel on the side of the road is overrun with roaches, big roaches. They're scampering all over the roof, the parking lot, and through the broken windows. To the north is the exit to Lake Drive. There is a large crater in the road to the east, which looks as if some giant beast has taken a bite out of it. Just going to point out that that's a roach motel. Go north. Drive to Lake Drive exit. The exit ramp leads north from East Kansas Road and curves to the east onto the Lake Drive. The trees lining the road look like shadows in the mist, and we're going to go east. You drive to Lake Drive. Lake Drive is the narrow blacktop which circles the lake. On most summer days it is crowded with the cars of sunburned tourists. Today the mist shrouds the lake. The Eagleton family has kept the bait store to the south for as long as anyone can remember. Now old Mr. Eagleton lies sprawled before the store's wooden door. The giant thing is here. Before you is a thing, a monster so tall that its 6 wrinkled legs rise into the mist like living towers until they are lost to sight. Clinging to the beast like babies to their mother are hundreds of pinkish bugs with stalk eyes. This is the game's big bad, and we need to fight it. So we're going to open the door so that we can get out of the truck. The truck's door is now open. Through the truck's windshield you see a giant figure lumbering through the mist, a chewed leg hanging from its mouth. Let's get out of truck. You step out and stand next to the truck at Lakeview Drive. The giant thing is here. We need to spray the giant thing. And we need to do this multiple times in order to kill it. You spray the pesticide at the gargantuan creature. On contact, the fluid burns the bugs clinging to their mother's legs. The air is suddenly filled with terrible screeching. Spray the giant thing again. As hundreds of bugs drop to the ground, the giant thing bends down to examine its dead babies. You can now see its head, covered with black, bulging eyes like an unearthly insect. Spray the giant thing one last time. The giant thing's circular mouth, irises in and out, its edges lined with jagged teeth. The creature emits a hellacious roar, then crashes to the ground. After what seems like forever, the dust settles, and the huge body of the giant thing lies in the road, dead. Okay, let's look so that we get a idea of our area again. Since we're right next to the end of the game, I'm going to show you. We're on Lake Drive with the narrow blacktop, so you remember there's a wooden door that's closed at the Eagleton family's bait store. So let's open the door. This is why we have open door, which is circumstantial based on the door we are currently standing next to. We're going to go south through the door. The bait store is chillingly quiet. Everything appears to be undisturbed. Steps lead down to the cellar. Let's go down the cellar. You rush down the cellar. Billy lies asleep on the cot, looking as innocent and pure as the day he was born. You gently nudge him awake, and he looks at you with big brown eyes and cries, "You're back!" The two of you make a run for the truck. You drive past the horrid body of the 6-legged thing and head for the interstate. As you leave Bridgetown behind, you see that the mist still covers everything in sight. You can't pick up the radio stations, and you wonder if you'll ever reach part of the country left unravaged. As you drive, you hold your son and whisper 2 words in his ear. Against the dreams that may come, 2 short words. One of them is hope. As you can see, this game really focuses on the humanity of the situation. Even though our ability to interact with each of them individually is limited by the parser, We got to see some of their individual fates. Unfortunately, those fates were hard-coded into the game and we were unable to change any of them. And had we hung around more, we would have seen more. This game is definitely much more expansive than what we did together. There were areas, like a mobile station, which we skipped. There we would have found 70-year-old Giusti, the owner-operator of the station, who is more than happy to tell us about the Black Spring of 1888, which actually conflicts with the rest of the storyline the game is telling. So I'm of the opinion he is just spinning yarns. Want to see it? Play it. As a whole, the game follows the spirit of the novella pretty well, and I completely understand the decision to depart from the source material as much as they did. It really would not do if we could just read the novella and know everything we need to do. One other thing I noticed is that this game is designed to do most things in a certain order. The choice to go off killing creatures we could run into early on is just trying to be efficient. I've not tested what would happen if they are left to roam. Perhaps if someone else wants to try, they could and let me know. And let me know if you have requests as well. I've gotten a few more, which I'm taking quite seriously. Like with how serious the like and or subscribe button is. If you truly like what I'm doing, those buttons tell me. They give me a reason to go on, and without a reason to go on, Billy might have starved down in that cellar alone. So do it. Do it for Billy.